We're going to tie Jeff Guerin's Long Creek. Now, Jeff Guerin is a longtime guide and a real authority on the Little Missouri River in Arkansas. And Jeff designed this fly to imitate the nymph stage of the March brown fly. And the March brown hatch occurs each spring on the Little Missouri River in Arkansas. And Jeff ties this on a 2x long nymph hook, usually in size 14. But we're going to tie it on a barbless hook. And this hook is a Firehole Sticks number 633 in size 14. So we began by clamping the hook in our tying vise. And we need to add a little weight to the fly, so we're going to make about a dozen wraps of .015 lead wire on the shank of the hook. And we can break that off. And we want to leave about a hook eye length of space behind the eye of the hook, because our soft tackle needs some space to tie. So start your tying thread, and here I'm using dark brown UTC 140 denier. After a few wraps, break or cut your tying thread off and tie the lead in place and wrap the thread back to about where the barb would be on the hook if this was a barbed hook. The tail of this fly is made from about a dozen fibers of brown saddle hackle, and the length of the tail should be about the length of the hook shank. So measure your tail against the hook shank, transfer that measurement back to the bend of the hook, tie the tail in with a few wraps, and trim off the excess. Now the body of this fly is a dub brown reddish color dubbing that Jeff has a proprietary blend, but this is a blend of natural hare's ear, reddish brown hare's ear, and dark hare's ear, which gives us a pretty close approximation of Jeff's dubbing. So we want to build about a 2-inch thin dubbing noodle on our tying thread. And once we have our dubbing noodle built, we want to begin dubbing just in front of the tail, wrapping the body. To just about the end of our lead wire. And we need a little more dubbing here. I have a little unruly dubbing. Let's trim that off. Add a little dubbing to our thread. And finish wrapping to the end of the lead. The soft tackle on this fly is made from a brown partridge feather, and we've already prepared it with a little triangle for our tie-in point in the front. And give your thread a good counterclockwise spin to uncord the thread so it won't jump forward. Tie in your soft tackle. And we can trim these extra fibers there. And with your hackle pliers, gently hold the feathers and press them together to stroke them, to angle them rearward. Take a few wraps. Now I think that's 2 complete wraps, which looks like enough. Tie in your soft tackle with a couple of wraps. Trim the stem. Sweep any unruly fibers back. Take a few red thread wraps to hold them back. And then give the fly a quick whip finish. Trim your tying thread. And we'll clean up around the hook eye here a bit where I have a few feather fibers. And that is Jeff Guerin's Long Creek, or a close copy of Jeff Guerin's Long Creek fly.